Hello there everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit late for me to be sitting down and starting to film a video. I am really tired, although it is only just coming up to 8:15 on the evening. This is a very impromptu video. I've literally just decided that I'm going to sit down and do it because I spontaneously went to Evesham today to go book shopping with Jess. She's never been there before, but I really recently went, maybe like 2 months ago ish, roundabout. I filmed it as a whole vlog for my channel, so if you're interested in checking that out then go back a few videos and you should be able to find it. I didn't film anything today just because I've not long been there myself, but I did go with Jess with the intention of taking her and showing her things and not really buying much myself. But I suppose what I'm saying is I've accidentally come home with a lot of books. We also went to Stratford-upon-Avon because we had time, so we went to our favourite bookshop there. And now I've been to Resorts World and been out for a meal with some other friends. So it's been quite a big day, which is why I'm a bit tired and shouldn't really sit down and film this. But if I put them away and don't film it now, you're never going to see these books. And I really like sharing them with you all because Charlie doesn't appreciate when I buy books. The only person that really appreciates it is Jess, and she was with me when I bought them, so I have to come home and show people a haul of anything that I've bought. So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to show you guys, and I'm going to go in order of the shops that I went to, just in case anyone's local and wants to visit them themselves based on what I've purchased. So let's do this, shall we? First shop that I went to in Evesham, I don't know if you guys have watched that vlog, but there was basically a community book swap place there. So I didn't know about it last time, so I just went in and took a book and didn't kind of exchange it. The lady said it was fine. I felt a bit bad, but never mind. Because I knew it was there this time, I was able to take some books that haven't sold on my Vinted to the shop and exchange them for new ones. So I've walked away with 3 and I'm really excited about them. The first book that I picked up was A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I've actually read this already, but I sold my copy because book storage issues. However, me and Charlie have decided that I'm going to be getting more book storage eventually, and so I want to buy the books that I read that I feel like always should stay on my shelf, and also all of my 5-star reads, I want to repurchase them. So this is one of those books, very heavy on the trigger warnings. I'm sure everybody knows what this book is about, or just knows that it's heavy on the trigger warning, so I won't go into the details about it. Next up, I got A Life Inside a Prisoner's Notebook by Erwin James. Never heard of it before, but I just thought it looked really interesting. Definitely my cup of tea. The blurb is really long, so I will just read you a little bit of it. It says, 19 years ago, while still in his 20s, Erwin James was sentenced to life imprisonment. Over the past 3 years, he has written powerfully about prison life for The Guardian. This book brings together these pieces. So it kind of looks inside like it's set out in a diary entry vibe, but maybe without dates. Oh no, there are dates here. Yeah, so it's set out in diary entries. I'm gonna assume from his time inside prison. I feel like that'll be really interesting, definitely something that I would read, so I'm glad that I found that, even though I had no idea what it was. The next book, I'm also gonna assume that a lot of people know this, but it's called The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. I've watched this as a movie, but I've never actually read the book. I always see this in charity shops, but the quality of the books is never that good with this one. I don't know why, I don't know what it is. So I've never actually picked it up. However, this time I was really impressed with the quality, so I decided to take that away. So those are the 3 books that I've got from the community book swap. Moving on now, this is my next biggest pile, or the biggest pile of the haul, shall we say. I went to, I believe it's called St Richard's Hospice Bookshop. First up, again, one that I'm going to assume a lot of people know about. It's called The Book Thief. I've heard so much about this, but I actually had no idea what it was about. The cover is also so cute. Let me read you guys the back of it because I didn't know that this is what it was about. Like I say, it says 1939, Nazi Germany. The country is holding its breath. Death has never been busier. Liesel, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, A 9-year-old girl is living with a foster family on Himmel Street. Her parents have been taken away to a concentration camp. Liesl steals books. This is her story and the story of the inhabitants of her street when the bombs begin to fall. And this was £2.45, and I was really excited when I picked it up because I was like, I recognise the title, but what's it about? And then when I looked, I was like, oh my goodness, how have I not already got a copy of that, because it sounds like it's right up my street. So that's the first one that I got from there. The second one is Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell, and I think this is like my 4th Maggie O'Farrell book, but I've not read any of them. They all just sound so good, so I just somehow keep buying them. And I believe this is basically just a fiction version of the Hamlet play, and that's why it's a spin-off of his name. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what it sounds like from reading the back. Next up, I'm really excited about this one because I almost very nearly picked this up on a previous trip to Waterstones, but didn't because I was like, no, you must restrain yourself. And it's called The Diary of a Bookseller by Sean Bivell. Sean Bivell, I think that's how you pronounce it. Apologies if I'm ruining the pronunciation of any of these. I'm really not very good at it, but we will give it a go. Let me read you guys the back of it. So it says, meet Sean Bivell, bookshop owner, bibliophile and misanthrope extraordinaire. This isn't going very well. He lives and works in the bookshop Wigton, whose crooked shelves contain anything from 16th century Bible to a first edition Agatha Christie, a book lover's paradise. In Sean's honest and wryly hilarious diaries, he reveals the highs and lows of the life in the book trade as he contends with eccentric customers, bin foraging employees, that would definitely be me. Why are you throwing a book away, please? And a perennially, I don't know what that word is, an empty till, basically, a really empty till, I'm gonna guess. Along the way, he'll take you on buying trips to old estates and auction houses, recommend lost classics and introduce you to the thrill of the unexpected find. I just think it sounds so cozy. Like, is this not autumn in a book? And I've been reading a lot of books this year about bookshops. So I started off by reading Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I'm working my way through buying the rest of the collection so I can read the rest, but again, they're quite spenny at the moment. I've also recently listened to Days at the Morisaki Bookshop on audiobook, and I absolutely loved it. I think that was a 5-star read for me. I can't quite remember, but it was very high up. Loved it. Proper escape. So I'm really happy to add this to the collection of books about bookshops. I feel like that's kind of my vibe this year. Not entirely sure why. Oh, that was also £2.45, by the way. I feel like I forgot to tell you guys the prices. Anyway, next up, I don't really need to introduce this one either. We've got The Tattooist of Auschwitz. If you read these types of books, even if you don't, I feel like you've seen this series everywhere. Again, I have read the whole series, but I've got rid of every single one of the books, and so I'm on a mission to repurchase them because I really enjoyed a lot of these books. I think there was a few bits in some of them that I was like, oh, doesn't sound quite accurate or things like that, but overall I really enjoyed this series. Next up we have Do No Harm by Jack Jordan. This is really frustrating as a story behind this. I actually purchased myself this recently. It's been on my wish list for a really long time, so I got it on Amazon for Prime Day, and Jess also really wants this book. So I saw it in that shop again for £2.45. There's a running theme here with the price. But Jess would not leave me alone, and I really wanted to buy it for her. Like, she was finished looking. I was finished but was trying to like say, oh, I'll look at this. Do you want to go and look at the vinyls? She wouldn't go. So I was like, Jess, you're not leaving me alone. You're really annoying me. I want to buy this and put it in your advent calendar. So she knows one of the books that she's getting, but I think this sounds really good. Let me read you the back of it. So it says, my child has been taken and I've been given a choice: kill a patient on the operating table or lose my son forever. Next up, again, a bit of a running theme, I am sorry. I've got Educated by Tara Westover, and I've really recently read this book on audiobook, but absolutely loved it. I rated it 5 stars, and so when I saw it, I knew I wanted it on my shelf because I will definitely reread it, and I just thought it was so good. I will read you a little bit of the blurb. It says, Tara Westover and her family grew up preparing for the end of days, but according to the government she didn't exist. She hadn't been registered for a birth certificate, she had no school records because she'd never set foot in a classroom, and no medical records because her father didn't believe in hospitals. As she grew older, her father became more radical and her brother more violent. At 16, Tara knew she had to leave home. In doing so, she discovered the transformative power of education and the price she had to pay for it. Again, I can really highly recommend this. I would also recommend looking at the trigger warnings before you do. There's a lot of violence and stuff inside of it, but this is real life, this is someone's actual life, and yeah, it was a really insightful, really interesting read, and I felt really connected to the author. It made me quite sad at points, but it was a very important book to delve into, I think, so I was happy to get a copy of that to put on my shelf. The last book that I got from this Richard Hospice bookshop, I really need to remember the name better, is called The Children's Block. This is what it looks like. Again, it's another book about Auschwitz. Again, I'll read you some of the blurb. It says, Alex is a poet, a prisoner and a teacher in Block 31 in Auschwitz-Birkenau, the Children's Block. He spends his days trying to survive while illegally giving lessons to his young charges, shielding them as best as he can from the impossible horrors of the camp. But trying to teach the children is not the only illicit activity that Alex is involved in. Like I say, I read a lot of books like this. I've never seen this one before, but I figured I would pick it up to add to the collection. So those are all of the books that I got from St Richard's Hospice Bookshop. And then, like I say, we moved on to Stratford-upon-Avon because the Oxfam in Evesham was shut, which I was gutted about because I have 3 for £5 on fiction, which is a little bit more expensive, but I had some good finds in there last time, so I was gutted, but we had time to then go somewhere else, so I said let's go to Stratford. You guys will know if you've watched some of my bookish videos before that I really like the Stratford, no, not Stratford, the Shakespeare Hospice Bookshop in Stratford-upon-Avon is what I'm trying to say. So let me show you the ones that I got from there. We've gone a bit more medically over there. I feel like this one I've heard of the title of before, but I've never actually seen it in person. I must have just seen it online. It's called The Diving Bell and the Butterfly by Jean Dominique Borby. This is the front cover, which I think is a really nice cover, but also the book itself is so tiny. It says, on December the 9th, 1995, Jean Dominique Borby suffered a massive stroke, locking his mind in the prison of his body. Oh, I love that sentence. Even the blurb is like, I like that writing. With grace and economy, it describes his life before and after the stroke, his continuing imaginative freedom, and how he comes to terms with what has happened. And this was, I think, the most expensive book. This was £3, and I've just had a little look in the front cover, and it looks like other titles available from the Stranger Than series. I'll show you guys. It looks like there's similar books maybe that are available, which looks really good actually. The Perfect Storm, a true story of men against the sea. Maybe not then actually. I'm not too sure. I'll take another look at that when I actually read the book, I'm sure. But yeah, thought that was really interesting. £3. Next one. I am in two minds whether I've read this or not. I can't remember. I know this was the book that made Charlie start getting into like medical biographies or medical science type books, I think you would call them. And it's by Max Pemberton and it's called Trust Me, I'm a Junior Doctor. And it's essentially the same as like the Adam Kay books, but I think this is actually older than Adam Kay. This one is one that Jess recently picked up, I think she said. And it's called The Man Who Broke into Auschwitz by Dennis Avey and Rob Broomby and Sir Martin Gilbert. That's quite a lot of people, isn't it, to write one book? Again, another Auschwitz style book, but this one is with a bit of a twist. I was really intrigued by it when I read the back. It says Dennis Avey was being held in a prisoner of war labour camp near Auschwitz. Oh no, I've skipped a little bit. Basically it's about a British soldier who went into Auschwitz and like smuggled himself in and swapped places with a prisoner. And I think it says on here somewhere that he did it twice and then he survived, and this is kind of his big reveal of what it was like inside basically. That's summed up from my memory. It might not be 100% accurate, but that's kind of what the book is about. This one was £2, so very, very happy with that. Yeah, I'm excited to give that a read. It's been a while since I've read a book like this. I feel like my time is coming because I've been branching out a lot this year into other types of fiction. It's been a while since I've read kind of an Auschwitz Holocaust book, because that was primarily what I used to read. If it wasn't that, it was a medical book. So yeah, it's been a hot minute, and maybe it's time to go back to what I'm truly passionate about. We then have this one, which is my best find of the day. Well, not my best find of the day, it's my cheapest find of the day in terms of what I purchased. I actually think my best find was A Little Life, because I was just so happy to see that, and I could have gone home at that point and been a happy girl. But this is called Reservoir 13 by John McGregor. I've never heard of it before. It's won the Man Booker Prize in 2017, and it's also won the Costa Book Awards in 2017 too. So 2 sets of awards, so you would expect it to be somewhat interesting, somewhat good. I will read you guys the back and then I will tell you how much it costs, because I'm very happy. It says, midwinter in the early years of this century, a teenage girl on holiday has gone missing in the hills at the heart of England. The villagers are called up to join the search, fanning out across the moors as the police set up roadblocks, and a crowd of news reporters descends on their usually quiet home. The search for the missing girl goes on, but so does everyday life as it might. And I will end it there because I am struggling to read them, but that kind of tells you the gist of what it's about. This one was 50p, because in the Stratford bookshop they have a very small 50p section. However, I do always seem to pick something up from it. And then we are on to our last book, which I feel like I sped up at some point, but I'm not entirely sure where, although I have been filming for like 25 minutes, so I'm really sorry. This has been quite a long book haul, hasn't it? But I suppose we've had quite a lot to get through as well. Anyway, the last one that I've got is The Diary of Ma Yan, The Life of a Chinese Schoolgirl, which has been edited and introduced by Pierre Haskey. I think this was in the translation section upstairs, which I was quite excited about because usually they're quite expensive, but this one was very reasonable. This says, the moving tale of a young girl with an indomitable spirit, wonderful humour and thirsty intelligence was pressed into the hands of a foreign... I've literally just been talking for the last few minutes but forgot that my camera cuts out at 25 minutes-ish of recording, so I think you might have heard me telling you about this book, The Diary of Ma Yan, a Chinese schoolgirl who was gutted because her parents couldn't afford to keep paying for her schooling. Not quite the right way to sum it up, but that's essentially what it's about. I'm not sure if you heard about it or not, but now you have. That was £2, and that was also the last book in this haul. I've done a little count up. I've got 15 books altogether, which is a lot more than I set out for today. I thought I might get, you know, 1 or 2, but once I was in there I just couldn't hold back, and I should probably be restrained in charity shops if there is a book section, because yeah, it's not looking good, is it? Where am I going to put these? I don't know. Charlie is going to kill me. However, thank you for joining me and watching my book haul. If you've made it all the way to the end, thank you so much. I feel like this is probably going to be a really hard watch, but I wanted to sit down and show you guys these books, otherwise I know I will never do it, and I do get quite excited about sharing them, even if I am quite tired and struggling to even read a sentence and string a sentence together. I thought we would do it anyway. Never mind, you know, it's done. So yeah, let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought about them, especially this one, because I'm really excited about reading Do No Harm. It's been on my list for a long time, so I'm intrigued to know what you guys think about it. Oh, and this one as well, this one that we spoke about the man with the stroke. I'm really excited to read that, and I feel like that could be a one-day type of book that I do nice and cozy, like I said. So let me guys know please let me know what your thoughts are on any of these books, if you've read them and what you thought about them, because I'd love to get a little conversation going down there and talk to people about books that actually care about books. And I'm gonna go, I'm not gonna waffle anymore because the words are not wording, and I will see you really soon in the next one. Thank you for watching this, guys, and I hope you have a lovely day, a lovely week, a lovely weekend, whenever you're watching this. I'm not sure, but have a good one. Thanks, bye.